Alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalam ala Rasulillah. Inshallah, we've reached al-Hadith al-Sabi'u wa-Thalathun, the Hadith number 37. عن ابن عباس رضي الله عنه عن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم فيما يروي عن ربه تبارك وتعالى قال عن ابن عباس. Ibn is majroor after an. Abbas is majroor because it's mudaf ilay. Radiallahu anhuma. May Allah be pleased with both of them, because Abdullah and Abbas, both of them were Muslims. Both of them were Sahaba. And Rasulillahi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Rasul is majroor after an, and Allah, lafzul jalala, is majroor mudaf ilay. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Fima, in what? Fi plus ma. In what? Yarwi, which is present tense of rawa. When we say rawahu Bukhari, for instance, it's actually rawa with a ya alif maksura, the ya without the dots, but because we add the ha, then this becomes an alif, right? Rawa meaning to report or to narrate, right? Yarwi is the present tense. Fima yarwi, and what he narrates, an rabbihi, on his Lord. Tabaraka wa ta'ala, blessed and the Most High. Tabaraka, blessed is He, wa ta'ala, and the Most High. Qala. So we know that this is a hadith Qudsi, something that the Prophet ﷺ narrates upon Allah, and the wording is Allah's, but it's not the Quran, right? It's not the Quran. He says, إن الله كتب الحسنات والسيئات ثم بين ذلك فمن هم بحسنة فلم يعملها كتبها الله عنده حسنة كاملة. Says inna Allah, inna harful nasb, particle which makes the noun following it mansub. Inna Allah katab al hasanati, he wrote hasanat. Here was sayyat. Here this is majroor, mansub, right? We have, when we make a word, a feminine word, for instance, let's just look at it, a masculine word first. We say, look at a jam, mudhakkar salim, a male, sound plural, such as, only thing I can think of is a Muslim for now. Just say Muslim, right? Musliman and Muslimin, right? Here we have a female. When we make it a sound plural, meaning it stays in its form, it's Hasanat, Hasanatun. Then when it becomes, no, I did that wrong. No, that's fine. Yeah, I did it wrong. Give me 1 second. I'm sorry. We have Muslimun. I guess we got to do it in plurals. 1 second. Let me write it better. I'm sorry. We have Muslim, Moon, Musliman, Muslimin. And we have dual, right? We say Muslimani. We have Muslimani. We have Muslimina. Muslimaini. Muslimaini. These two are the same, right? Whereas this is marfu' and this is mansub and this is majroor. When it becomes dual, the mansub and the majroor, they look alike. And when they're plural, it's the same thing. We have muslimuna, muslimuna, muslimina, and muslimina. The accusative and genitive, the mansub and the majroor, they look alike. Right? You have to know which one it is, even though you have to know which one it is by what's in front of it, what's causing it to make that change from muna to mina. Then we have muslima, or we have, there we go, we could just use muslimatan, right? Muslima on, and then muslimatan with the ta marbuta. We don't need this alif here with the ta marbuta, and the hamza we don't need it. Every other letter we need it. And then we have muslimatin. When we go to plural or dual, we say muslimatani. Right? Like kalimatani, habibatani. And then we go, when we have mansub and majroor, we say muslima tani. Right? And then the same thing for the majroor, muslima tani. Now, this is what we came to this point here. We have to know how to make the plurals of these words, especially sound plurals. The point we have here is that when we get to muslimat tun, right? When it is marfu', when it's mansub, it becomes muslimatin. And when it's majroor, we say muslimat. So this kasra here, the sign of its mansub and the sign of its jar. So al-hasanati, sayyiati, they are the object of the verb, maf'ulun bihi, mansub. But they're mansub with the kasra here, right? Because of they are a sound feminine plural. That's the reason why this kasra here is a sign of nasb and not a fatha. We don't ever have, if we look at our chart, we don't ever have muslimatin. We don't ever have that. It'll never take place. So, inna Allaha kataba al-hasanati wa sayyiati. Allah wrote, kataba, He wrote good deeds and bad deeds. ثُمَّ بَيَّنَ ذَلِكَ. ثُمَّ is then, بَيَّنَ is to clarify. ذَلِكَ, then He clarified that. فَمَنْ هَمَّ, so whoever, فَمَنْ, so whoever, هَمَّ. There's a hadith where the Prophet ﷺ, he said, أحب الأسماء إلى الله عبد الله وعبد الرحمن. The most beloved names to Allah are Abdullah and Abdul Rahman. وأصدقها الحارث والحمام. And the most truthful of them, the most truthful of the names are Al-Harith wal-Hammam. Al-Harith wal-Hammam. Okay, what does this mean? Abdullah and Abdul Rahman. You could have that name, but you could in all actuality be Abdul Shaitan. You could be someone who worships shaitan with the name Abdullah, Abdurrahman. Those are the most beloved names to Allah. But the most truthful are Al-Harith wal-Hammam. Al-Harith means one who harvests. Al-Harith is the one who goes and gets the potatoes out of the field, gets the corn off the stalk, so on and so forth. This is Al-Harith. And Hammam is like one who intends to do something. So no matter what you do, you're harvesting. No matter what good deeds you do, you're harvesting. Right? Whether it be good or bad. Whatever it is you're planting or whatever it is you're harvesting something. And Hammam, whether you intend something good or bad or not, you're intending. That's the reason why they're the most truthful names. Because everyone is intending and everyone is harvesting with their deeds. So man hamma here means whoever sets his goal on something. Whoever hamma, whoever cares about something, whoever wants to do something, basically. فَمَنْ هَمَّ بِحَسَنَةٍ, whoever wants to do a good deed. Hasana, the plural. It's majroor because of the bih. فَلَمْ يَعْمَلْهَا, and then he doesn't do it. يَعْمَلُ became يَعْمَل because of the lam. It's the particle of jazm. فَلَمْ يَعْمَلْهَا, and he doesn't do it. Doesn't do that hasana. كتبها الله عنده حسنة كاملة. Allah wrote it, meaning that hasana. Allah, lafzul jalala, is the fa'il, right? Marfu'. Allah wrote it. عنده, with him. حسنة كاملة. He wrote it what? He wrote it as a complete kamila hasana, a complete good deed. So whoever man hamma bihasanatin falam ya'malha, whoever intended to do a good deed but didn't do it, katabaha Allahu indahu hasanatan kamilatan. Allah wrote it down with him as one good deed. وَإِن hamma biha fa'amilaha, and he intended to do it. فَإِنْ هَمَّ بِهَا, and he intended with it. He intended to do the good deed. فَعَمِلَهَا, and he did it. Past tense of يَعْمَلُ عَمِلَ. And so he did it. كَتَبَهَا اللَّهُ عِنْدَهُ عَشْرَ حَسَنَاتٍ. Allah wrote it with him, ashra, 10 hasanat. 10 good deeds. إِلَى, up until, that's what it means here, up until, or from 10 until sab'i mi'atin, or sab'i mi'ati da'fin. Sab'amiyah is 700, 7, and then mi'ah is 100, or 100, 700. Da'fan, from dad, ayn, fa, means to double. So it means up to 700 times. كتبها الله عنده عشر حسنات. Allah wrote it with him as 10 good deeds. إلى 700 ضعفا, up until 700 times. إلى أضعاف كثيرا, up until ad'af, from da'afa, the same word that we had here, up until many times. It could be even more than 700 hasanat, right? Even more than 700. Allah wrote these good deeds with him, whoever does them, right? Ashra hasanat ila sab'imiyati da'fin ila ad'afin kathira, until many multiplications, even more than 700. وَإِنْ هَمَّ بِسَيِّئَةٍ, and whoever intends to do an evil deed, فَلَمْ يَعْمَلْهَا, and he doesn't do it, كَتَبَهَا اللَّهُ عِنْدَهُ حَسَنَةً كَامِلَةً, Allah wrote it as one good deed. You intend to do an evil deed but don't do it, Allah wrote it as one good deed. وَإِنْ هَمَّ بِهَا فَعَمِلَهَا, and whoever intends to do it, and he did it, وَكَتَبَهَا اللَّهُ سَيِّئَةً وَاحِدَةً, Allah wrote it as one evil deed. رواه البخاري ومسلم في صحيحيهما بهذه الحروف. Al-Bukhari and Muslim, they are our fa'il, right? They are our fa'il. Bukhari and Muslim narrated it. في صحيحيهما, in their two sahihs. Sahihai was originally Sahihain. It was originally Sahihain. There are two sahihs. Before that it was Sahihan, right, with an alif. But because of fi it became majroor. And because of the idafa here, we dropped our noon. So we say fi sahihayhima. بهذه الحروف, meaning with these words. بهذه الحروف. Huruf means words here, not letters. Doesn't mean with these letters, it means with these words. And it can benefit us a lot, because the hadith which says whoever recites a letter from a harfan min kitabullah, kataballahu lahu ashra hasanat, then Allah wrote for him 10 hasanat. Wa la aqul alif lam mim harfan, lakin alifun harfun, lamun harfun, wa mimun harfun. But I don't say that alif lam mim is a harf, but lakin alifun is a harf, wa mim is a harf, wa lam is a harf, wa mim is a harf. Then the scholars, they say, based on some ahadith, that when they say alif, they mean this. They don't mean this. When they say lam, they mean this. They don't mean this. And when they say mim, they mean this. They don't mean this. What does that mean? We said, they say it means the word alif, the name, lam, and mim, not the letter, but the word or the spelling of it. So therefore there's a difference. There's a difference in that, because is, for instance, alhamdu lillahi rabbil alameen, right? How do we count this when we try to count the good deeds? How do we count it? Do we count it as alif lam ha mim dal lam lam ha ra ba alif lam ain lam lam mim ya noon? Do we count all that as good deeds, or do we count alhamd is a harf, lillah is a harf, Rabb is a harf, and alameen is a harf? If we count it the first way, then alif 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. That's 18 times 10 or more is 180. Whereas if we count it the other way, then it's 4. The amount of hasanat would be 40 versus 180. This is the opinion of Ibn Taymiyyah and other than them, right? This is what Muhammad Bazmul brings in his explanation of Sifat al-Salat al-Nabi, right? So, harf here means word, and it does not mean letters. And just like we say, kalimat al-shahada. Kalimat al-shahada. We say, did he say the kalima? Did he say the kalima? Right? You might ask, did he take shahada? Did he say the words? Kalima here means the phrase or the sentence. It doesn't mean the word. And so on and so forth. Right? So, بِهَذِهِ الْحُرُوفِ, meaning with these words. This is the wording you find in Bukhari and Muslim, and there are other wordings, in other words. Any questions?
لا.
طيب أبا طاهر اقرأ لنا.
عن ابن عباس رضي الله عنهما عن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم فيما يروي عن ربه تبارك وتعالى قال إن الله كتب الحسنات والسيئات ثم بين ذلك فمن هم بحسنة فلم يعملها كتبها الله عنده حسنة كاملة وإن هم بها فعملها كتبها الله عنده 10 حسنة إلى 700 ضعف إلا أضعاف كثيرة وإن هم بسيئات فلم يعملها كتبها الله عنده حسنة كاملة وإن هم بها فعملها كتبها الله سيئات واحدة. رواه البخاري ومسلم في صحيحيهما بهذه الحروف.
نعم. يلا أمير.
ابن عباس رضي الله عنه عن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم فيما يروي عن ربه تبارك وتعالى قال إن الله كتب الحسنات والسيئات ثم بين ذلك فمن هم بحسنة فلم يعملها كتبها له عنده حسنة كاملات وإن هم بها فعملها كتبها له عنده 10 حسنات إلى 700 ضعف إلى أضعاف كثيرة وإن هم بسيئة ولم يعملها
سيئة
بسيئة فلم يعملها كتبها له عنده حسنات كاملات وإن هم بها فعملها كتبها له سيئة واحدة. رواه البخاري ومسلم في صحيحيهما بهذه الحروف.
يلا عبد الله.
عن ابن عباس رضي الله عنهما عن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم فيما يحوي عن ربه تبارك وتعالى قال إن الله كتب الحسنة والسيئات ثم بين ذلك فما هم بحسنة فلم يعملها كتبها الله عنده حسنة كاملة وإن هم بها فآملها كتبها الله عنده عشر حسنات إلا 700 ضعف إلا أضعاف كثيرة وإن هم بسيئة فلم يعملها كتبها الله عنده حسنة كاملة وإن هم بها فآملها كتبها الله سيئة واحدة رواه البخاري ومسلم في صحيحيهما بهذه الحروف.
Now, read this word here for me.
Allahu indahu.
Now here.
Oh,
I overline, I don't underline.
okay. At'afin.
Naam, ad'af. Naam. I think it originally say ad'af. Ad'af. Gonna make sure you say that alif.
Okay. At'afin kathira.
نعم. الحديث الثامن والثلاثون عن أبي هريرة رضي الله عنه قال قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم إن الله تعالى قال من عاد لي وليا فقد آذنته بالحرب وما تقرب إلي عبدي بشيء أحب إلي مما افترضت عليه. Abu became Abi after An. Abi Hurayrata ممنوع من الصرف مجرور بالفتح رضي الله عنه قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. He said that the Messenger of Allah said, Rasul marfu' fa'il, right? Rasulullah lafzul jalala majroor mudaf ilayh sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Inna Allah ta'ala qal, verily Allah, inna harfun nasb, a particle of making something, the noun following it, accusative. Inna Allah ta'ala, verily Allah the Most High, qal, he said, Men aada li waliyan. Men, whoever. Aada is from Ain Dal Wow. Right? This is form 3 of Ain Dal Wow, meaning to take as an enemy. Men aada li waliyan. Whoever took, right, as an enemy, Li waliyan, waliyan, whoever, and we have to. This is not in the normal order of our sentence, but for emphasis purposes, this is the way it's worded. So it says, "Men ada waliyan," whoever took as an enemy a wali. Right? It's mansub because it's the object of taking as an enemy. Li. Whoever took as an enemy, waliyan li, right? A friend or a wali, if you just want to leave it like that. Many times it's translated as friend, right? Whoever took as an enemy, waliyan li, a friend of mine. But li is put forward. It's muqaddam, it's brought forward to be emphasized. This isn't like you know, Abu Muawiyah's friend. This is a friend of Allah, right? So li. So this li is brought forth. But when ada waliyan would be more, I don't want to say common sense, but more straightforward in its meaning. But the li is brought forward in order to emphasize that this is the wali of Allah Azza wa Jal. Not just anybody's friend or wali, but the friend of Allah Azza wa Jal. Faqad, then this is emphasis. So, verily, adhantu. Adhantu from adhana, which could be ear, but we know from this we get the word adhan, right? Because you hear the adhan, you hear the call. Adhan. Adhantu, I have proclaimed, I have called, right? When you call the adhan, you proclaim that it's time for salat, right? Adhantuhu bil harb, I have proclaimed for him bil harb, with war. Harba, harb, right? Adhantuhu bil harb, I have announced or proclaimed war on him. وَمَا تَقَرَّبَ إِلَيَّ Abdi. Abdi is the fa'il here, but it's not. It doesn't have a dhamma because of this ya. This ya, which makes it my slave or my servant, prevents it from being abdu, right? If you were to put al-abd and say a servant or the servant, ما تقرب إلي العبد. But because of this abdi, the dhamma is not apparent, right? So وما تقرب إلي عبدي, my slave. Taqarraba is to get close. It is to get close. Form number 5. Right, of qaf, ra, ba. And here's a negation. He doesn't get close. My slave doesn't get close, ilayya, to me. Bi shay'in, with something, with a thing. Ahabba ilayya, more beloved to me. This is the superlative form. Ahabba, like akbar and ahsan and afdal. Ahabba ilayya, more beloved to me. Mimma, from what? Iftaradtu alayhi. Iftaradtu alayhi, from faradad, meaning to make obligatory upon him. Right? From what I have made obligatory. Afarada. Iftaradtu, from what I have made obligatory alayhi, upon him. So, inna Allah ta'ala qal, verily Allah the Most High said, Man aada li waliyan, whoever takes a friend of mine as an enemy, faqad adhantuhu bil harb, then I have announced or proclaimed war on him. وَمَا تَقَرَّبَ إِلَيَّ عَبْدِي, and my slave doesn't get closer to me, بِشَيْءٍ, with anything, أَحَبَّ إِلَيَّ, more beloved to me, مِمَّا افْتَرَضْتُ عَلَيْهِ, than what I have made obligatory upon him. وَمَا يَزَالُ عَبْدِي يَتَقَرَّبُ إِلَيَّ, and my slave, Abdi, does not cease from zala yazalu, meaning to cease, to stop. Here, وَمَا يَزَالُ, and he doesn't cease, he doesn't stop. يَتَقَرَّبُ, to get close, ilayya, to me. بِالنَّوَافِلِ, with the extra deeds, from nun, fa, lam, nafal. The nafal, the extra, the supererogatory deeds. Those things which are not obligatory. Right? حتى أحبه حتى أحبه until I love him. Hatta is until. Uhibba, it's uhibba with a fatha here because of hatta. Hatta changes it to from uhibbuhu to uhibbahu. Until I love him. So وَمَا يَزَالُ عَبْدِي, and my slave doesn't stop يَتَقَرَّبُ إِلَيَّ, getting close to me بِالنَّوَافِلِ, with the good extra deeds. حَتَّى أُحِبَّهُ, until I love him. فَإِذَا أَحْبَبْتُهُ, and if I love him, here أَحْبَبْتُ is past tense. And if I loved him, كُنْتُ سَمْعَهُ, then I was or I will be here سَمْعَهُ, his hearing. سَمْعَ, his hearing. الَّذِي يَسْمَعُ بِي, which he hears with. وَبَصَرَهُ, and his sight. الَّذِي يُبْصِرُ بِي, which he sees with. وَيَدَهُ, and his hand. الَّتِي يَبْتِشُ بِهَا. Yad is feminine because it's a body part that has two on it. So body parts that are pairs are feminine. So we have allati and not alladhi. وَيَدَهُ allati, in his hand which. يَبْتِشُ بِهَا. Yabtishu from ba, ta, sha, meaning to strike or to hit. Right? وَيَدَهُ الَّتِي يَبْتِشُ بِهَا. He strikes with it, meaning his hand, feminine. وَرِجْلَهُ, rijl is his feet or his leg. Right? Rijl is his leg or his feet. Allati, and since there's two of them, it's feminine. Allati yamshi biha, he walks with them. From mim, sheen, ya, masha, yamshi, that he walks with them or walks with it. Wala'in, and this lam is the lam of emphasis, and then we have in, right, which is like if. But we're not going to put our lam on it like that. So this alif here changes to a ya. This is a ya right here without dots. This right here is the ya without dots. This hamza, sometimes it can sit by itself. But many times it needs a seat. Sometimes that seat is an alif. Sometimes that seat is a ya. And sometimes that seat is a wow. And then like we said, sometimes it can sit by itself. Here, it needs that seat, and it becomes from an alif to a ya because of the connection. Wala'in, and if he, and this is a lam of emphasis as we said, and if he, sa'alani, if he asks me, sa'alani, sa'ala, to ask. Me, if he asked me, لَأُعْتِيَنَّهُ, I will give him. لَأُعْتِيَنَّ, this lam is a lam of emphasis. Then u'ti from ata, meaning to give. This noon is the noon al-mushaddada, al-thaqila, for emphasis. Noon al-tawqid, al-mushaddada, al-muthaqqala, the heavy noon of emphasis. لَأُعْتِيَنَّهُ, then I would give him. So we have this emphasis, lam, as well as the noon al-tawqid al-mushaddada. لَأُعْتِيَنَّهُ, I would give him. وَلَئِنِ اسْتَعَذَنِي, and again, and if he, in the lam of emphasis, isti'adhani, from ayn, waw, dha, and we have a'udhu billahi, asta'idhu, right? Isti'adha. وَلَئِنِ اسْتَعَاذَنِي, and if he sought refuge in me, لَأُوذِيَنَّهُ, again, the lam of emphasis, أُعِيذَ, I would give him, and with the noon of tawqeed, the noon of emphasis, mushaddada, which is thaqeel, because it could be without the shadda, which would be khafif, then I would give him refuge. Rawahu al-Bukhari, Bukhari narrated it. Any questions here? اقرأ لنا عبد الله.
عن أبي هريرة رضي الله عنه قال قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم إن الله تعالى قال من آدى لي وليا فقد آذنته بالحرب وما تقرب إلي عبدي شيء أحب إلي مما افترضت عليه وما تزل عبدي
يزال
okay وما يزال عبدي يتقرب إلي بالنوافل حتى أحبه فإذا أحببته كنت سمعه الذي يسمع به وبصره الذي يبصر به ويده التي يبطش بها ورجله التي يمشي بها ولا إن سألني لأؤتينه ولا إن استعاذني لأؤيذنه ورواه البخاري.
نعم هذا طاهر.
عن أبي هريرة رضي الله عنه قال قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم إن الله تعالى قال من أدى لي وليا فقد آذنته بالحرب وما تقرب إلي عبدي بشيء أحب إلي مما افترضت عليه وما يزال عبدي يتقرب إلي بالنوافل حتى أحببته كنت سمعه الذي يسمع به وبصره الذي يبصر به ويده التي يبطش بها ورجله التي يمشي بها ولا إن سألني لأعطيناه ولا إن استعاذني لأؤذنه رواه البخاري.
أخي أمير.
عن أبي هريرة رضي الله عنه قال قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم إن الله تعالى قال من أدل وليا فقد أذنته بالحرب وما تقرب إلي عندي بشيء أحب إلي مما افترضت عليه وما يزال عبدي يزال عبدي يتقرب إلي بالنوافل حتى أحبه فإذا حب حببته كنت أحببته كنت سمعه التي سمع به وبصره يسمع به وبصره الذي ينصر به ويده التي يبتش يبتش بها ورجله التي يمشي بها ولئن سأل بي لا أبينه ولئن استعذبني لا أؤذنه رواه البخاري.
نعم. الحديث 39. الحديث 39 عن ابن عباس رضي الله عنهما أن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم قال. We've been through this, we don't have to repeat it. إن الله تجاوز لي عن أمتي الخطأ والنسيان وما استكرهوا عليه. حديث حسن رواه ابن ماجه والبيهقي وغيرهما. إن الله, verily Allah, لفظ الجلالة منصوب after إن, حرف النصب. تجاوز, from jim, wow, zay. Here, this form, tajawaza, means to overlook, to go past. So for instance, if we were to skip this hadith and go to al-hadith al-arba'un, right, then we would say tajawazna al-hadith al-tasi' wa thalathun. Right, we passed it, we overlooked it, we went past it. Tajawaza is to overlook or to go past it. A lot of times when you read a book, the sheikh, he might yatajawaz al-muqaddimah, he might skip the muqaddimah, he might go past it. We say skip, right, to overlook it or to skip it. Here, Allah has, some people might translate it as pardon, and we'll see why. Who knows what they translate. Let me look here in this app. See what they say here. Hadith 39. See how they translate it. Okay, here it says pardon, right? Inna Allah tajawaza li. Allah has overlooked for me an ummati, on my ummah, my nation, al-khata'a. He has overlooked what? Al-khata'a, mistake. Wa nisyan, maf'ulun bihi. These are maf'ulun bihi. The khata'a, the mistake. والنسيان from nasiya, noon, sin, ya, forgetfulness. And forgetfulness, وَمَا اسْتُكْرِهُ عَلَيْهِ, and what from karaha, kaf, ra, ha, right? This is form 10. Here it means stukrihu is plural, referring to the ummah, not just one person from it. Stukrihu, and it's passive as well, meaning what they were forced or compelled, alayhi, on it or to do it. Right? That's what they were forced to do, made to do, right? Compelled or coerced to do. Hadithun Hasan, good hadith, Rawahu ibn Majah wa Bayhaqi, ibn Majah wa Bayhaqi wa ghayruhuma, they narrated it. Right? As we said, Ibn Majah has a sukoon on the ha, it never becomes Majaha, Majahu, Majahi, right? Al-Bayhaqi, the Dhamma is clear, and ghayru is clear, and other than them too, right? So, Inna Allah tajawaza li an ummati, Allah has overlooked for me, for my ummah, al-khata'a, a mistake, wa nisyan, and forgetfulness, wa mastukrihu alayh, and what they were compelled to do. Meaning that if any of these three things happen, then Allah doesn't hold you accountable, He overlooks them. And as we said, this translation says to pardon. He pardons them, meaning He doesn't hold them accountable for that sin. But I would say Allah knows best. Pardon is a pardon, I guess it could be, is better than forgive. Pardon could be the meaning of overlook, but forgive means like a sin, right? But it's not a sin because it was a mistake, or it was done out of forgetfulness, or they was forced. So it wasn't a sin necessarily. But to pardon could have that meaning of overlook. So maybe, but still, to say He overlooks and He just skips past that, to me somehow sounds better, because it's not a sin for them in the first place, and Allah knows best. But Inna Allah tajawaza li an ummati, Allah overlooks for my ummah, me for my ummah, what they do like out of mistake, what they do out of forgetfulness, and what's to do. Any questions?
لا.
Go ahead, Abu Tahir.
عن ابن عباس رضي الله عنهما أن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم قال إن الله تجاوز لي عن أمتي الخطأ والنسيان وما استكرهوا عليه. حديث حسن رواه ابن ماجه والبيهقي وغيرهما.
نعم أمير.
عن ابن عباس رضي الله عنه أن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم قال إن الله تجاوز لي عن أمتي الخطأ والنسيان وما استكره عليه. حديث حسن رواه ابن ماجه والبيهقي وغيرهما.
Abdullah.
And Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhuma أن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم قال إن الله تجاوز لي عن أمة الخطأ والنسيان وما استكره عليه. حديث حسن ورواه ابن ماجه والبيهقي وغيرهما.
No. Say it slow when you say it. That way you get it and practice it. Rawahu.
Rawahu.
No, not warahu. Rawahu.
Rawahu. That's
No.
Warahu.
Yeah, you're putting a wow. Even if you're saying it right, you're still putting a wow sound in the wa, in the ra, and a ra sound in the wow. It sounds like you're trying to say it, but you just gotta say ra wa hu. You gotta say it slow until you
Rawahu.
There you go. Rawahu.
Rawahu. Rawahu.
Say it again. Say it 5 times.
Rawahu. 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 Rawahu.
Yeah. Eventually, because they're close to one another, you're gonna probably say warahu or something, but no problem. Just work on that. Inshallah ta'ala, we'll see you guys tomorrow and we'll finish 39 hadith, man. You know, sometime this week or early next week, like we said, we should finish the book and we'll start on the explanation of Nawaqid al-Islam before Ramadan, inshallah.
Inshallah.
Jazakumullahu khairan. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.